Last week, it was a relatively short conversation, I thought, but we discussed a little bit of what's been happening on the channel with respect to viewership. There were some theories that we kind of threw around on the show last week. Since that time, we have done some additional digging, and I wouldn't say that we have an answer, but we definitely have a lot more questions. And I guess I'm going to have to kind of bring producer Dan into the conversation for this, because he's one of the ones that's been doing a fair bit of the investigation on our side. So we've chatted a little bit with YouTube about it, but in typical YouTube fashion, the answer is pretty much get good.
Yeah.
Which, to be clear, is fair and is a valid stance. Like, if there is an algorithmic shift, that means that, yeah, a 0.2 or 0.4 difference in click-through ratio means that, hey, your packaging just isn't good enough for the modern meta anymore. Or if there's a shift where established channels can't just take for granted that they're going to get a certain number of impressions and they're going to have to get scrappier and fight for every viewer, just like they did in the early days. That's a valid answer, and that's one that I can totally accept. But Dan did dig up some things, and we did see some feedback from other creators, both publicly and in our inboxes, that would lead us to believe that it isn't quite, maybe not quite that simple. So, Dan, do you want to talk a little bit about maybe let's go chronologically. So start with what you sort of discovered right after WAN Show that we were kind of chatting about on Teams afterward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had a pretty brutal chat after WAN Show. I think all of us here are pretty concerned about this downturn in viewership. Like, we're seeing maybe a 50% viewership drop. So we went from 2 million views per video to down to like 1 million. So like huge drop.
I mean, less than that for that one in particular.
Exactly. I think sometimes down to 300,000.
I think that one still has like 400K or something like that, even though it's been up for over a week.
Yeah, something.
500K.
500, 7,000. Yeah, something like that. So I thought this was pretty weird because in general, if our videos were just getting worse, like we were just losing it, you should be seeing like a downward trend. And, maybe we are getting bad. Maybe that's a component of it too. But I built a tool to pull all of our videos that we've ever made. So that's roughly 6,900 or something like that. And one thing that I've also pulled was all of the likes for those videos too.
Are you able to share any of this on screen, or are you just going to kind of...
I can throw pictures up. I'm not sure how much of this you want to show publicly.
Care. Yeah, we're that for better or for worse, Dan. Our transparency is we're like panes of glass.
Absolutely.
We're transparent, and sometimes we break.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I think we should shout out where we got the tip from too.
Yes, that's right.
Well, let's go chronological.
Sure. I will grab some pictures in a minute, if I can. Anyway, I ran this chart and I saw that there was this shift, and it was really, really strange because it was so sudden, and we hadn't seen many other kind of, I guess, creators talking about it at that point.
Yeah.
And it was also very difficult to find other creators that were presenting similar to we were. I pulled Mr. Beast, I pulled Veritasium, I pulled a bunch of other channels, and I think their upload frequency maybe had something to do with their data that didn't look like this. But what we found was the views were down, but the like ratio had gone through the roof. So our average like ratio, I think, was something like 3%. And it had skyrocketed.
Did we know this already before the heads up?
What, sorry?
Did we know this like ratio thing already?
No, this was the heads up. Yeah.
Okay,
we got to go chronologically.
Yeah, who was that then?
That was Brody.
Oh yeah, that's
right. Okay. So there was a merch message that came in from a viewer, giving us a heads up of I think it's Brody Robinson. Hopefully I didn't say that wrong. Let me check his channel. We've engaged with him before.
And Fleming says Brody. Yeah, I watched his video.
Yeah, Brody Robertson. Okay. So there's a merch message that came in flagging that video for us. So big appreciation to the merch message. If I remember correctly, it was anonymous. So
that's right.
I don't know. But that sent us to Brody's video. And then Brody's video talked about this whole, views going down, likes going sharply up, revenue going...
likes not going sharply up, but likes staying constant, meaning that if views are down, but your likes are the same, the ratio of viewers liking the content is skyrocketing.
And then a pattern as well of revenue also staying constant, meaning that your CPMs or your amount of money per view also went up.
That's another big thing that I found. I think that was a couple days ago now. I was looking at our revenue numbers because, are we getting less views? If we're getting less views, we should be making less money. Every YouTuber makes money off of AdSense. That should track. I did a linear regression on revenue to view count, and it is pretty much perfectly statistically correlated with no outliers. Revenue is stable around our average. It hasn't moved within 1 sigma from that mean, but viewership is down over 1 sigma, so like 65 to 98% kind of outside normal, and then like ratio is up by 2 sigma. So it's like everyone who is seeing this, I think your views are the same. I think they haven't changed. And you can check your revenue numbers and you can check your like ratio as well. Another thing that I did is I calculated our revenue per view, which is like kind of a CPM that we make.
RPM.
It's like an RPM, but not the one that YouTube reports. YouTube's reported CPM and RPM have no statistical correlation to view count at all. But if you take the number of views you get and the amount of money you get an RPM. That number has also skyrocketed by about the same. And what I managed to do was I calculated our average RPM and then I kind of flipped it around. So instead of RPM revenue divided by views, I did how many views we should have got for this amount of revenue that we generated.
Right.
And what I found is that, it's a little bit more wonky, but the views are where they're supposed to be. The numbers are, roughly where they're supposed to be on the average, which I thought was very strange.
Do you have any of these visuals for the people just yet?
They're going to take me a sec. Why don't you guys discuss? Because I got to screen cap and download all these pictures.
Oh, okay.
It's been interesting. I was flagged this video and in classic fashion, I haven't watched it and I haven't read the comments.
Oh boy. Boy. Here we go. It's probably full of furry porn.
No. No. It's a Dark Viper video. But he released a video 17 hours ago. I've been traveling, so I haven't been able to watch it. But he released a video 17 hours ago, just in quotes saying, I guess my retirement is coming sooner than I thought. And I've heard that it's about this YouTube performance thing that's going on. So maybe consider checking that out. I've seen some other creators talking about it. There's some theories. I believe Brody, who really tipped us off on all of this stuff, there's some theories that I believe he said as well, that it might be kind of being A/B tested. So some channels are getting hit by whatever this is, and other channels seem to not be. I have talked to other creators that think that they've had none of these effects, and I've looked at their results, and their overall revenue staying kind of flat, their like to view ratio staying kind of flat, and their overall views are staying kind of right where they expected. And then you're seeing other creators where this exactly similar pattern is happening, where the like to view ratio and the CPMs are just going way up and the views are going way down, and it's all on it happened to everybody at like the exact same time. So it's really, really, really hard. Like, we don't know, obviously, we have no idea, but it's really hard to point at this and say like there isn't something going on in YouTube land.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can always do better, sure.
And there are various theories for how, something like this could happen legitimately. One of the theories that I've seen is that YouTube could be cleaning up idle autoplay. So something that I do know is that an idle view is not worth as much. It cannot be monetized as effectively as an active, engaged view. It's also less likely to result in clicking the like button because you're sleeping or you're otherwise away or idling. And so that is a potential hypothesis for how a video could perform as expected in terms of the revenue and in terms of the viewer engagement, but not register nearly as many views or nearly as much watch time. It could also explain why some of these very low viewership videos have really great retention and really great user sentiment. It turns out this is a good video. It's just that like nobody's watching it, or maybe YouTube is fine-tuning things so that only people who are actually very interested and very actively engaged are watching it. That's one theory I've seen.
So I've got our chart here ready.
And I'm going to hold on. Let me finish with the kind of random theories
I'll keep
first. And then,
some more.
Yeah, as soon as you're ready.
Okay.
After that. Another one is that there's this new feature called, I think it's called Hype, that showed up in the dashboard right around that time. And I think it has to do with helping to promote small channels. So another theory that I've seen is that, no, the viewer drop is real, but it is mostly affecting only certain kinds of channels, or it's mostly affecting established channels because this hype feature is kind of designed to elevate smaller channels and diversify the content on the platform a little bit. I think there could be some merit there, but it doesn't really back up some of the observations that we've seen within our own dashboard over the last little while. Like, after that one video that absolutely bombinated, the hidden gaming setup in my new desk one that still has 500,000 views, which I want to just get this out there. Most people on Earth would be thrilled to get 500,000 views on their YouTube video. And that's like huge. I'm not down on getting 500,000 views on a YouTube video. That's awesome. Like, good job if you've ever managed to achieve that. I'm just saying that when you have like 100 staff and you've kind of built a model around expecting a certain number of views, then that can be a disappointment because that could mean that the model is no longer sustainable. So that's where I'm coming from here. So right after that one that bombed, we had our worst performing WAN show in, I don't know, years. So
it was rough.
Yeah, last WAN show was an absolute bomb. But then we had 2 1 out of 10s in a row. And when I say a 1 out of 10, that means that it is the top performing video out of the last 10 uploaded to your channel. So that's
a good thing. It sounds like a bad thing, but it's a good thing.
Yeah, so we had Nintendo's greed could change the industry. That was a 1 out of 10. It now has 1.6 million views, and it has looks like a pretty normal like ratio. So I don't know if I would believe that it's supposed to have 3 million views by now. And then we're being forced to buy Chromebooks, which was a really like back to basics, old school LTT, filmed on phones, completely unscripted. Me and David went shopping for Chromebooks. That was another 1 out of 10, which also like it's got a good, like ratio and everything, but not an outlier by any stretch of the imagination. Then we had another bomb yesterday. And so that, unfortunately, I think kind of derailed the conversation within the community you guys aren't getting views because your content sucks. And it's like, look, I get it. The how many monitors is too many. Sure, you can make the argument it sucked. Looking back at it now with people's feedback, it's like, yeah, you know what? I think our ratio of not the ones that got the LG monitor shipped to them could have been better. And like, it probably could have been longer. It just was bad timing. We've been discussing, hey, how do we get our video lengths down a little bit? But that was shot before that happened. So the ratio probably would have been better. Anyway, the point is just, it's spilled milk at this point. Even with some of the negative feedback around it, the viewership is very, very low, but it's still not nearly as bad as that Hidden Desk one was, which I think had a better title, better thumbnail, better premise, and was like a real outlier.
I really thought that the title thumbnail on the desk video was fantastic. Yeah.
So, okay, with all that in mind then, I don't know what to think other than if they are A/B testing something, it might even not be channel wide. I mean, it might be video to video for all I can tell. Or maybe they just aren't A/B testing something, and maybe those videos just suck. And at the end of the day, like, our action plan just has to be make the best possible content we can and upload as much of it as we can. That's all we can do. But it's still, I don't think it hurts to have these conversations. So, okay, Dan, you got us some visuals to show the people now, right?
I do. Cool. Hopefully they can make sense. And are we okay showing some revenue numbers, or shall I keep that one out of it? Yeah, I don't care. So here is the first one I got. At the top here, I will get rid of myself in a sec. In the top here, we've got views, and the bottom one here is our
No, don't do it, Dan!
The green line in the center there is our average, 1 sigma, 2 sigma above that. You can see like ratio has gone ridiculous, and views are down 2. The next one here...
No, put that back up. Do you have a mouse pointer that you can kind of use to really show them the date?
Maybe? Probably not.
Help the people? Okay, fine. Well, basically it's...
Let me do that.
It's around the start of August there then.
That's right.
Where the like to view ratio on the top just skyrockets, where the low watermark becomes what used to be a high watermark, right? And then right on that same day, pretty much, you go down to the bottom and view performance goes...
And like, some of that can be explained a little bit, because if a video is only viewed by the super hardcore audience, they're more likely to tap like. But this does not explain that entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There, I made a pointer. So yeah, as you can kind of see, like, this is where it kind of starts. Right in August, it all goes a bit weird. And then if we compare that with all of our videos we've ever made, which is this one here. So I pulled all 6,000. You can see right at the end here, this goes up. Most of it's just like noise for the entire history of the channel. And then it just goes zoop. And then same here, it just kind of drops down to nothing.
And there are definitely some outliers over the years where there's days that have like a spectacular like ratio. But those, if you go and you drill down into them, what you're going to find is things like the D-Brand sponsored video, where we just like uploaded that video of D-Brand trolling me. That has a phenomenal like to view ratio. Or ones where, Elijah said, hey, if we get 100,000 likes, I'll make this weird hope poster with CEO Taryn Tong, which we did get and we did have to make. So those are some of the outliers that you guys are seeing there. Everything else is pretty much our typical, way of doing things, where we don't really call out the like button super hard. Our content, I wouldn't describe it as samey. I don't think that's fair, but I think it's consistent for the most part.
Another thing that I did is that second win video that came out got shared around. This is their channel, and I can see exactly pretty much the same thing. Their like ratio goes insane. Their views kind of go down. I've had to correct this one a little bit because they have sort of mini channels, right? You got Yahtzee in them, and there's all those sorts of spikes. But most of their channel performance is around here, and then you can kind of see there's a bit of drop off, but that like ratio goes crazy, which is very, very strange as well. If we move on to our revenue here, this is from a more recent kind of time period, but you can see that the views drop off here, but revenue is still within that 65% middle band, and then our revenue per view goes up like insane, like way out of normal. Which is kind of interesting as well. Very, very, very strange. If you want to see that as a linear regression, you can kind of see here. So this top one is the provided CPM. So basically, like absolutely no correlation between CPM and views. And then the bottom one here is our views to estimated revenue, which would kind of tell me that our revenue's not being adjusted, because we're still getting the same amount of views and we're still getting the same amount of revenue.
Or rather, we're not getting the same number of views.
Sorry, yeah. The expected amount of revenue is weird. This last one here is that kind of flip. So you can kind of again see on the right-hand side here, We've got our
right, like these two graphs track really, really closely with each other until suddenly at the beginning of August, they decouple.
Absolutely. And you do see some slight decoupling, but not consistent. And if you can think about where our numbers are supposed to be, which are roughly around 1.5 to 2 million, these are there. Just the views are really low. Some of them are still coupled. I don't know what's going on. I don't know enough. But that's really strange. I've got more.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. Which one is this? This is Dark Viper. He posted that video today. I see the same thing. You can see his like ratio goes crazy and his views are down.
He hits he hits two what would be all-time highs for like ratio in the last month. You got to be kidding me, right? Mm-hmm. While his views are in the absolute toilet at low points for this entire data range.
It's here, yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Another interesting thing that I'm seeing is like the like ratio is super decoupled from views initially. Like you'll have a video that has 100,000 views and it has 80,000 likes, and the likes go up even more. Like I was tracking the...
Here, do you want to go back to Talking Heads?
Yeah, let's probably do that.
Have you really seen it that bad? 100,000 views, 80,000 likes? That's insane.
Yeah, the second win video I started tracking immediately after it got posted. And like, I was looking at the like ratio on that. It was within the first hour. It had like 40,000 views and like nearly 40,000 likes. Like the ratio for it was just at the absolute top. They're lagging, and I think a couple other channels have mentioned that. I think Dark Viper mentioned that. I think somebody else did too.
Yeah, I saw someone mentioning that they encountered a situation where their internal dashboard actually registered fewer views than the external view counter, which they said in like big number of years of doing this, they'd never seen.
Yeah.
I've never seen it either. Normally, our internal real-time view counter, or even the non-real-time internal view counter in the studio, registers significantly more views than what's visible externally, because I think whether it's more vetting or whether it's just not updating as frequently because of the load that would put on the external platform, that view counter is not as accurate, supposedly, as the one that we have in our dashboards.
Yeah, I spent the last week or two building a tool to kind of cross-check any channel from any time period, likes, comments, stuff like that. Everything is consistent but the number. I don't think any of us are experiencing a lower viewer count, or what's happening is we're being served to a smaller group of more engaged viewers. Because if the like count is consistent, but the like ratio is going like through the roof, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But what a view is has changed, in my opinion.
Or is being tested to change. However,
exactly.
I have it from someone I would consider to be extraordinarily good authority that if that were happening, they'd know, and they don't know about that. So,
well, we're not getting less money.
Yeah. So, I mean, all right.
Well, okay, that's a complicated.
It is a complicated.
That's a complicated conversation, though, because in the eyes of a sponsor, which I don't know if this has happened to us at all, but theoretically, for any creator on YouTube, if they're working with outside sponsors, in the eyes of the sponsors, you're getting significantly less views. So, if your theory is correct, and there's a bunch of theories and we have no idea which one is correct, if your theory is correct and we're actually getting the same amount of views, then it's really screwing over our ability to work with outside sponsors, which will extremely negatively impact groups like us, which are like larger companies that are quite heavily reliant on that sponsor money.
Or, hear me out, maybe it won't matter that much because, and here, I'm going to... Let me see if there's a way for me to do this easily. Okay, I'm gonna try and show a 1 week view. Let's go from last Friday to this Thursday. I'm gonna kind of show you. Well, oh man. Okay, this is tough. So what I'm trying to do is show the. Oh. Balls, I suck at this interface. Okay, there.
What do you do?
I'm trying to bring up my Shopify dashboard. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that Yeah, this is not going to demonstrate very well because we actually typically have a Friday spike for WAN show and then it lulls and then it spikes again on Fridays. So it's kind of cyclical. So it's going to look like it is going down. But day to day this week, or even last week when we had the big viewership dip, there wasn't a reduction in sales on LTT Store. So it's possible that the sponsors won't care because our referral rates might seem, to Dan's point earlier, like they're actually skyrocketing. So we might have fewer views, but way more qualified views or impressions or referrals.
Yeah, to me, they're more high quality.
Would this change how we communicate to sponsors, or are we already talking in a conversion rate sense? I don't really know the business side.
I don't think it would change anything, at least not in the short to medium term. I mean, a lot of the partners that we've worked with for a very long time, through good times and through less good times. And, sure, we try to work with our partners in a reasonable fashion where, hey, if they get a banger of a video that does 6 million views, we don't charge them extra for that. And in the same vein, when they get a dog that gets 500,000 views, they don't come to us going like, I want my money back. Where's my money back? I think they understand that there's a certain amount of variability here. And if they stick with us, we've been such consistent performers on the platform for so long that we kind of have to understand each other that it's going to come out in the wash. Eventually. Yeah. Speaking of the wash, unless, Dan, did you have some more things you wanted to share with the folks? Because otherwise we should probably discuss the sweater I'm wearing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if people want to reach out and have me run their stats, or if you have any more data for me, I would really appreciate that. Yeah, I guess try and find me, and we'll have a look at your channel. Yeah, Blue Sky, Twitter, email me. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Product.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. I actually I had brought up one of the bigger Reddit threads on this, and I was going to kind of dunk on people's theories a little bit, but I guess it's probably not worth it.
Yeah, everyone is wrong.
Yeah, basically, if you think you know the answer and that it's black and white, you're wrong.
You are just wrong.
You're just actually wrong.
I have charts for that. You're wrong.
There's so
get wrecked.
Oh my God, there's so much certainty. There's so much certainty in this Reddit thread that is just utterly misplaced. Well, YouTube's video views have been going down for years. I have it on extremely good authority. That's not happening.
I seriously doubt that's true. Well, okay.
Oh, there is one theory.
Viewership is down a little bit from COVID era, but
you'd be surprised. YouTube is going hard. YouTube's going strong, boys.
I've heard they're doing better on shorts than TikTok is now, which is pretty nuts.
There is one theory that we had actually discussed internally as well, and that's something I've got a bit of an update for you guys on. I think we touched on this last week, where we felt that the channel was really being cluttered up by members-only videos. So we've had some internal discussions this week about just killing the memberships on YouTube. That may move forward. Right now it is not confirmed. We'll definitely keep the ones that are just like emotes and flares and stuff like that. But the actual members only videos, I think, may go back to being Floatplane exclusive. However, YouTube has asked for sort of a little bit of time to figure out if there's something that they can do to keep us from just walking away from this feature. Because I think what I suspect, I don't know this for sure, but what I suspect is that we aren't the only ones complaining about the way that it's just embedded in the feed and potentially turning people off of our channel right now. When we turned memberships on, they weren't like this. There was a members only videos like tab, and kind of like a Patreon or Floatplane or any other kind of off-platform service. You would drive people to memberships, to that tab yourself as a creator. You would control how you're calling it out and how you're promoting it. The way that it is now, it just seems to be kind of shoved in the face of anyone who might have a passing interest in your channel. And I think it's really turning people off at the moment. And that's something that, no creator, I don't think, if they aren't supremely arrogant, would be in a position where they want to do. You don't want to be turning people off of your channel.
And not gonna lie, and I honestly don't think this is like Floatplane bias, because I recommended and supported us, not recommended, but supported us.
No, you were very supportive of it.
Floatplane content on YouTube. It has turned me away. This like YouTube exclusives being in the main feed has been very annoying for me as a YouTube enjoyer of not just our channel but other people's channels as well. It is very annoying, and one of the big things that it does is it pushes me away from the individual channel, and
it gives people. I think it can give people a sense of FOMO in a good way that converts them to become a member, but I think it can give people a sense of FOMO in a really bad way, especially if that's not something that is part of their budget right now. Like, just because I think that our behind the scenes team is freaking awesome, I think the content's really great.
Sammy kills it.
Yeah. That doesn't mean that everyone should spend, $5 or $10 a month to get it. Like, if that's not a manageable amount of money for you. I mean, Luke, I don't know if you want to talk about that indicator that you had, that times have been pretty tough. But we fully recognize that times are pretty tough out there. And the first thing that you should cut out is throwing money at your screen if times are tough.
I can talk about it. It's up to you, really.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. And
sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So something I've noticed, and it makes me sad because I don't want this to be a situation that people are running into, to be completely honest. But something I've noticed is that we can check, mostly in Stripe. I'm sure it's possible in Braintree, but Braintree's really annoying to use for anything. But we can check in Stripe what the error codes are that we're getting for failed payments. And you can look at those error codes over time. And the error code for insufficient funds is a line that is trending up. As like percentage wise, the amount of failed payments that are because of insufficient funds is rising over time, to the point where like there was one day in particular where there was a lot of cancellations, it seemed like, on the platform, and I was looking into why, and it didn't seem like there was a lot of manual cancellations, so I was like, oh, it's a lot of failed payments, and I looked into it, and it was just actually somewhat stunning amount of insufficient funds. And like Linus says, right? Like it's
and the insufficient funds code is completely discrete from the sorry, what's the other one? Rejected or
denied.
Yeah, denied. Because denied could be for any reason, but the insufficient funds one is like for that reason. Actually, there's some backup for this in Floatplane chat. Hovership says, I work in banking, and this is sadly so true.
Dude, it's crazy. And I can't stress it enough. I love doing the Floatplane stuff. I adore the Floatplane team. I want to be able to do Floatplane stuff basically forever. I appreciate your guys' support. I also don't want you going to insufficient funds on a credit card. Like, oh man, it's so destructive to your life to just carry credit card debt like that. And like I can hope that these are just like really, really low limit credit cards that people have
or virtual
kept
cards,
low limit because of control or whatever. I can really hope that it's those things, but the volume of errors that we're getting indicates that it's not that.
Firefighter 6122 in Floatplane chat says, I work in insurance and we are seeing the same issues.
Dude. Oh, it's so rough. It's so uncomfortable. I appreciate your support. I don't want you in that situation. Please feel free to come back later. The exclusives are there all the time, so you can come back and see them later. It's okay.
Yep. And I've said this to people before because we've taken some criticism for not having regional pricing, right? And I fully recognize that, $5 is not a reasonable monthly amount if you are in India or, some parts of South America, for instance. But one of the things that I have said publicly is that maintaining the subscription is an amazing way of helping support our channel, our development team, the incredible work that our editors and Sammy do on the exclusive content, not to mention, our other participants. We had a really great Meet the Team with Sammy, who was featured on actually the last 2 Scrapyard Wars. That just went up this week. It's a great team, and they love getting your support, and that really does come from the people who maintain their subscription monthly. However, if it is a financial burden on you that is not reasonable, don't forget that Floatplane offers DRM-free downloads. We have that. That was baked into the platform from day one.
Well, it's per creator.
No, sorry. It was baked into the ability to set that up was baked into the platform from day one. We have had it enabled from day one. We have zero intention of ever removing that. So you can always create for yourself a pay however much you want tier. You could subscribe 1 month a year. So you could you could pay 8% for Floatplane, and then you could queue up the downloads for everything you missed over the last year, dump it all in a folder, and watch it at your leisure. We appreciate your support, but we do not want to drain your bank account. That's not what this is about.
Yeah.
There is a rate limit on it, yes, CWP, but over the span of a month, I think you should be able to grab everything that was
and
uploaded
there's like I haven't looked into it in a bit, but there's like a GitHub thing for a script for Plex that will download it like just right below the rate limit and stuff like that.
We had to do the rate limit thing because people were kind of abusing it, and so it's just like this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah,
but we are not out to put you guys in financial straits.